Welcome to this video on defragmenting your hard drive in Windows XP. Before we begin, let's talk a little bit about hard drives and why they need to be defragmented. Hard drives write information on magnetized platters that look like a small CD or DVD. They spin much more rapidly than CDs, however, and with some reaching 10,000 RPMs. That means it's going around 167 times per second. When information is written to the drive, it first uses up the inside track and then proceeds outward towards the edge until finished. Defragmentation happens when a series of files are written, one after the other, and then more information is written to the first file. Now the information for the first file is in two places. With time, some files can be written in hundreds or even thousands of places. Clearly, it takes much longer to read a file that's written in 1,000 places than one that's written in just one. Imagine if you had a filing cabinet and one file in that cabinet had some of its papers in every other folder in every other drawer. It would take a very long time to gather up all the pieces of that file. The same goes for computer files. Admittedly, computers are much faster at looking, but when they have to look everywhere, this can translate into a lot of time. The other issue here is that reading fragmented files is very hard on your hard drive. The wear and tear caused by highly disorganized files can greatly reduce the life of the drive. Replacing a drive is a time-consuming and expensive thing, especially if you don't know how to do it yourself. In fact, in most cases, when a hard drive fails, people just go out and buy a new computer because replacing the old one often just isn't worth the trouble. So if you look at it this way, the simple procedure of defragmenting could save you lots of money in not having to replace your computer nearly as soon. And in this discussion, we've not even mentioned the issue of data loss. Often that is the most costly problem associated with a drive failure. You can replace your computer, but a lot of the information you store on your computer is unique and priceless. So defragmenting can save you time, money, frustration, and ultimately prevent serious data loss. You can compare this to maintenance on a car. If you keep your oil changed and the rest of your car is maintained, it will last much longer. Also, when replacement time does come, you can do it in an orderly manner using the old car to look for a new one. The same goes for your computer. When maintained well, the upgrade process is orderly, relatively painless, and there's no interruption of your work. It also does not involve costly losses. So let's get started. To get to the defragmenter, click on the Start button, then go to All Programs, then Accessories, which you might have to scroll up to, and then System Tools, and finally to Disk Defragmenter. When you get to this screen, you'll be presented with all the choices of drives that you can defragment. So select the drive that you want to look at and click on it, and then click Analyze. And Windows XP will begin analyzing the drive, and when it's finished it will tell you how fragmented this drive is and whether it thinks that you should defragment this drive or not. In this case, according to our report, Windows does think we should defragment this drive. So go ahead and click on Close, and that will take you back to the screen below that gives you a graphical representation of this drive and the state of defragmentation. The red bars in the picture represent fragmented files, pieces of which are scattered all over your drive before you do any defragmenting. So click on Defragment, and Windows will first analyze the drive again, and then as soon as it's done with its analysis, it will begin defragmenting the drive. One thing to mention is that you can stop this process at any time during the defragmentation process without having a detrimental effect on your files. So you would just click on Stop and it would stop and you'd be able to continue on later. You can see that there's a legend down here at the bottom of the screen. Red stands for fragmented files, as I said before. Blue are files that don't need to be defragmented, and green are files that cannot be moved. They're usually system files that Windows doesn't let you move. And then of course the white is free space. As this process continues on, you can watch Windows as it rearranges files and gets them all back in order, and eventually all the red lines will disappear. Now the white space will not disappear, and that's okay. As long as your files are all in one piece, it's actually not a bad idea to have a little white space so that files can be added onto without being fragmented to another part of the drive. One thing to keep in mind here is that Windows XP did not come with a scheduler like Windows Vista and Windows 7 did. The schedulers in those programs were set by default to defragment your drive every week. And so your hard drive in those programs never got a chance to get extremely fragmented. Since Windows XP doesn't have this feature, if you've never done this procedure on your computer, it's probably never been done, and therefore your hard drive is probably very fragmented. That also means that the defragmentation process could take a very long time, so don't do this when you need to use your computer for something else, because it will slow down all your other programs tremendously. Once the process is finished and your hard drive is all cleaned up, then your programs will run much faster, depending on the degree of fragmentation there was in the first place. Also, once it's finished, you'll get an opportunity to view the report, which if you click on that, will give you all kinds of interesting information, especially if you're kind of the geek type that likes to look at all this detail. Just close that, and you're all ready to go. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.